In this video, I want to talk about karma, and I personally always differentiate between general karma and individual karma. I know I have been talking about this in previous videos, I've mentioned this before, but I think it does deserve its own video. As some of you maybe know, I have been a psychic I've been working in that field since 17 years. In my early 30s to mid 30s, I'm 40 now. I had this phase where I was very much interested in past lives. I mean, I am a hypnotherapist, so I have brought people into past lives. I have seen glimpses of past lives as well. And as I said in other videos, I outgrew the belief in past lives when I really realized, oh my God, time does not exist. There's only a now, which means now we have 2022, but we also have 1500. If there is no time, then I cannot have been in the 1500 and then been born and reborn and reincarnated. No, there is just this stream of consciousness that is the I am in this life, and then there is another stream of consciousness that lived in the 1500s. Basically, we could say, yeah, that was me, because there is only one soul on this earth throughout all of time and space that is split into many fragments, and those fragments of ourselves are shown to us as other people. So when we do past life regression, we would connect to another stream of consciousness that simply has a very similar vibration to ours, and then we can collect that information from the Akashic records and interpret that as it was our own experience. But I didn't know that back then. So to me, past life was something that I felt as very real. I mean, it's supposed to feel real. That's the template, right? That is, like, we can remember a childhood and we can imagine a future, but it is not there. There's always the now. So of course, it is like remembering your childhood. You can, in quotation marks, remember past lives, but there is only the now, and we get to recreate whatever you want. But back then, when I was interested in that, I have one tarot deck, and I noticed that with that specific deck I got impressions that I realized as past life impressions. So many clients came to me to talk about past lives, and they asked me what happened between me and that person in a past life, and I did those readings. I still offer them if you're interested, and I often saw things where my client would say, yeah, that still resonates. I do have a very similar situation going on than what you described in a past life. But one thing, I specialized on karma, past lives, karma. Why did we attract certain things into our life? Why are we in those karmic patterns? All of that. But what I realized is that when a client asked me about a connection between a person, a karmic connection, what I hardly ever saw was something that I would call individual karma, which means karma between two souls. Something happened. Individual karma for me would be like a big thing. Let's say one person killed the other in a past life, or there is some major death. Karma for me would not be, oh, we fell out of love and then we separated, we got divorced. Imagine every person you fell in love with in this lifetime and it didn't work out would now be your karmic, and you would meet in another life as karmics. That would be awful, wouldn't it? So that by itself is not a karmic connection. Karma to me would be something like a real tragedy that happened, and that would play out into this life, and something you would heal between that person. But as I said, that is something in all of those years I saw a handful of times maybe. What I found out, and that's what I like to do. I always like to compare and find the patterns and the red threads. Was what happened more often is general karma. General karma I describe as, we have an issue. Let's say in a past life our spouse died, and then we have this major fear of abandonment. That's the way I understood karma when I still believed in past lives. Okay, something tragic happened and you lost your spouse at a really young age, or maybe you lost a child. You had an extreme loss. Then you brought that fear of abandonment, that loss, into your next life, into your childhood. And if you want to find out what our karmic lessons is in astrology, we have to look at our south node, what house, what sign, and what connections does the south node have in our own birth chart to other planets, to see, okay, what kind of karma and quotation mark did we bring into this life. That is something you would find in early childhood as well. So there would be some kind of loss, and it would not have been as tragic as mom or dad die. It could be a divorce and one parent is far away, or it could be parents had to work a lot and you had to go to grandma. You had like a nanny or a babysitter a lot and mom was not there. Or maybe mom was there physically but she was not very warm. So you had a loss when it comes to being nurtured, like every child should be nurtured. Then you create the, let's say, anxious attachment style. You create this fear of loss and abandonment, and that for me would be general karma, because then when you're an adult, this program runs and you keep on attracting people who neglect your needs. They're not there. You either attract spouses that don't love you really well. Is the word program you? They give you, well, it's not fulfilling. Let's say it like that. You have a spouse, but you don't get the nurture, you don't get the warmth you would like in this relationship. Maybe you have somebody who thinks more about themselves, or you don't have a spouse because guys you like or women you like, they're not emotionally available, or they're not available because there is another person involved, or whatever it is. So that is something that has nothing to do with the other person. So if you have like this fear of loss because of mommy issues, usually daddy issues would be more connected to our inner masculine, which would be more connected on how well we do at work. And when it comes to money, do we get the respect we want at work? Do we get positive attention from our boss at work? That would be more daddy stuff, work, money. Whereas mommy stuff is more connected to our inner feminine, to relationships, because mom is usually the first person we have this bond, especially of course when we are breastfed and mommy is the one who changes the diapers, who feeds us. Then it would be mom, our first very intimate connection. And that would be what gets mirrored back to us when we are adults. Even if you're women, it's most likely not daddy issues, it's in truth mommy issues. When you then have that, and then you attract a guy, let's say you're a woman, you attract a guy, it could be vice versa, or it could of course be a woman and a man, whatever, that is not emotionally available, or they don't choose you, then it's not karma between you and that person. It's your own karma. It's in karma. My definition of karma is something that is not in balance within you, something that's not healed within you. There's like limiting beliefs, negative assumptions when it comes to connection, and those get mirrored back to you. So karma to me basically is something within you that gets mirrored so that you can become aware. As I always say, if you're not in self-love, we cannot attract somebody who chooses us or who adores us. We have to learn to take care of ourselves. If we always neglect our own needs, we will not attract somebody whom our needs are important. That's those people who say, yeah, my person is a narcissist. Well, maybe they're not a narcissist, but I have a problem with people labeling others a narcissist that quickly. We're not professionals. And also a narcissist would be a narcissist towards everyone and not isolated to you or just a couple of people. No, it's not that they're a narcissist. Even if they are and they're actually diagnosed by a professional, you manifested them, you attracted them. Why? Because you don't take your own needs serious. It's those people who always say yes even though they mean to say no, and then they show the universe, look universe, my needs don't matter because I don't even take care of my own needs. I'm always there for everyone else but myself. And then you will attract somebody who may be there for everyone else or only for themselves but not for you, because that's what you ordered at the universe, because the universe mirrors you. So we learn to take care of ourselves. We don't neglect taking care of others. We still are connected, of course, and especially in case of emergency, we do help others. We want help as well if we really need it, right? But if you want help when you really need it, you first have to learn to take your own needs serious so that other people can mirror you, that your needs are important, and they can learn to take your needs serious. It all starts with you, within you. The other person is only your mirror, and it's not their fault. I always say, if you eat unhealthy, it's not the fault of the mirror to show you acne. It's not the mirror's fault. It's your own. responsibility. I don't like to use the word fault, but it's your own responsibility to change your diet so the mirror can show you clear skin. So if you attracted a narcissist, not their fault. It's your responsibility to become somebody who takes their own needs serious, who learns to say no, who works on their self-love so that they know that it's okay to say no. Because often it could be the program that as a child you only got positive attention when you did something right, and when you didn't act the way you were supposed to act, you didn't get positive attention, or no attention maybe even. And then you created a belief, oh my God, I always have to be good for everyone else in order to get positive attention. But now you can unlearn that program by strengthening your self-love. You could use affirmations. I do have 2 different meditations and subliminals when it comes to that. One is I am a goddess, or goddess meditation is specifically for women because one of you viewers asked me for that specifically. Another one is just about self-love in general. Strengthen your self-love. Treat yourself as the queen. If you want others to treat you as a queen, start to treat yourself as a queen. And by the way, a queen is someone who does take care of her subjects, okay? A queen is not selfish, but in self-love. There is a difference. We are still there for others, but our needs are important too. And then they can mirror that to you. So that is what karma to me is. It never has anything to do with the other person. You always attract them. As Neville Goddard said, everyone is you push out. I would advise you to Google that, or always have a video called Everyone is You Pushed Out. I would advise you to learn about the law of assumption. Karma does not mean that there is something negative between you and a specific person. It means there is something imbalanced within you, and that is getting shown to you until you balance it out. So if you just wait and hope and pray that something changes without doing the work, I'm sorry, then I have clients, they wait for decades and nothing is happening. Sometimes they get out of a situation, then they attract the next guy, back to the mirror. If you eat unhealthy, you have acne, you can buy a new mirror, that one is showing you acne as well. And then you can buy a new mirror, that one is showing you acne as well. If you want real improvement, you check, where are my assumptions coming from? What kind of assumptions do I have when it comes to connection? What kind of assumption do I have about myself? How do I treat myself? Do I accept myself the way I am? Do I always criticize myself, or do I see the good things about myself? Am I positive about myself? Do I have positive assumptions about people, or do I always think people are mean, they don't mean well with me? Then change those assumptions, and then you can get mirrored something else. Well, that is basically karma. It's just something within you that is not balanced. It's a program you picked up in early childhood. It doesn't matter if it's from a past life or not. When a client asks me, well, I don't know the past life thing, I don't know how to find it, and I say, well, then don't. It's not important what was in the past life. Even if you believe in past lives, I always told my clients, imagine you are a body, a mind, and a soul, and body and mind from past life, they no longer exist. They're dust. They're no longer there. That issue is like in your energy body, the tiny fragment of your soul, and you take that into the next life. Find a root in this life and clear that. You don't have to go to a past life. Past body doesn't exist. If it's in your soul, find the issue in this life, do the revision technique, clear that, and you will clear it out of your system entirely. It does take work, yes. It does take persistence. It does take a moment, maybe, if it's deep-rooted, but it will definitely be worth it, because you will see how everyone around you, not just your specific person, but everyone around you will mirror your positive changes back to you. There may be a part where it's like a little bit like on-off. I like to compare it with a flood. Every wave goes back, and the next wave goes a little bit further than the one before. So when we develop ourselves, there may be like 2 steps forward, 1 back, 2 forward, 1 back. Don't focus too much on the steps back. They are just part of it, and they're sometimes important. They just show you, look, you need to work a little bit harder, or just make your assumptions again and keep on working. also sometimes we need those steps back because we get confronted with the same situation again, so we can do it different this time, because if we have the same reaction all over, then the same thing is going to happen. But if we break a cycle and we start to have a new reaction to the old story, that's when we create new synapses in our brain, and that is where change happens. So sometimes it's actually part of the way to be again confronted with something we thought we already had overcome, in order to do it different, in order to have that new way of reacting to sink in. And then once it is sunk in, that will get pushed out and that will get mirrored back. Anyway, I hope it helped. If it did, you can help me by liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon. Share this, please. We want to raise the Twin Flame Collective, right? So please send this to everybody or post it in groups where you think it may help. If you want to help me as well and you want to leave a little tip, a link to my PayPal is below. If you want my guidance, then you can either check out my other content and or you can book your own personal coaching. And yeah, I'll see you there in another video or in your own personal coaching. Until then, I wish you all the best now. Bye-bye.